The human mind is a fascinating thing. It can feel love, show empathy, and create magnificent ideas. But it also hides a deeper, darker side, a part of us we would rather not see. Throughout history, scientists, governments, and psychologists have tried to understand that darkness. But sometimes they went much too far. In the pursuit of knowledge, the line between science and abuse slowly faded. Experiments were carried out on unsuspecting citizens, on children, on animals, and sometimes even on their own colleagues. The human psyche was treated like a machine that could be taken apart, regardless of the pain it caused. What you are about to see are 5 of the most disturbing and unethical experiments ever conducted. Studies that were meant to teach us something about behavior, fear, power, and control, but that ultimately reveal one dark truth: that the greatest horror is not always found in monsters or legends, but in people themselves. In 1939, at the University of Iowa, psychologist Wendell Johnson conducted an experiment that would go down in history as the monster study, one of the darkest and most controversial in psychology. The goal seemed simple: understand what causes stuttering in children. But the methods were shocking. Johnson worked with 22 orphan children, all of them with normal speech, aged 5 to 15. They were split into 2 groups. One group received praise and encouragement for speaking. The other group faced harsh criticism. Even the slightest mistake was pointed out. They were told their words were wrong, warned that they were developing a stutter, and made to feel anxious about speaking at all. The effects were immediate and disturbing. Children in the negative group became nervous, self-conscious, and hesitant to talk. Some actually developed stutters. Years later, follow-ups showed that many still carried lasting speech and emotional scars from the experiment. The nickname, the Monster Study, wasn't random. It reflected how cruelly the children in the negative group were treated, psychologically manipulated by adults they trusted. And perhaps most shocking of all, the children never knew it was an experiment. The true purpose was hidden, and the results were never shared with them. The Monster Study revealed a chilling truth: words alone, wielded by authority figures, can cause real and lasting harm. Johnson never published the findings in his lifetime because of ethical concerns. Today, the experiment is remembered not for what it discovered about speech, but as a haunting warning about the cost of curiosity without conscience. Between the 1950s and 1960s, psychologist Harlow conducted a series of experiments that remain some of the most infamous in psychology. His goal seemed simple: to understand how social contact and touch influence healthy development. But the methods were far from harmless. Harlow's first experiments involved the famous wire mother versus cloth mother setup. Infant rhesus monkeys were removed from their biological mothers very shortly after birth, usually within 12 to 48 hours, and raised with 2 surrogate mothers. One was made of cold wire and provided milk, while the other was soft, warm, and comforting, but offered no food. Almost immediately, the monkeys showed a clear preference. They clung to the cloth mother, seeking comfort even over nourishment. In stressful or frightening situations, the monkeys would run to the soft mother for reassurance, showing that touch and comfort were essential for emotional security. Harlow concluded that attachment is driven by comfort and contact, not just food. But Harlow wanted to go further. What happens when a young social animal is completely isolated? To find out, he created the vertical chamber apparatus, later grimly called the Pit of Despair. It was a narrow metal cage, designed to remove almost all social and sensory stimulation. Within days, the monkeys became withdrawn. They huddled in corners, moved little, and gave up trying to escape. Weeks of isolation, usually up to 10 weeks in most studies, caused severe psychological harm. Extreme fear, social withdrawal, and loss of normal play behavior. Some monkeys recovered partially once returned to a normal social environment, but others remained deeply traumatized. Together, these experiments reveal a chilling lesson. Social contact and comfort are essential for emotional development, and their absence can cause profound damage. The wire versus cloth mother experiments showed the power of touch and reassurance in times of stress, while the Pit of Despair warned of the devastating effects of isolation. Harlow's work is both fascinating and a stark reminder of the limits of ethical science. In 1920, within the walls of Johns Hopkins University, psychologists John B. Watson and Rosalie Rayner conducted one of the most infamous experiments in the history of psychology. Their goal was deceptively simple: to show that fear, one of our most primal emotions, could be learned, not just inherited. Their subject was an infant of about 9 months, known to the world only as Little Albert. Before any conditioning began, Watson and Rayner introduced Albert to a series of neutral stimuli: a rat, a rabbit, a dog, wool, cotton, masks, and various other objects. The baby showed no fear whatsoever. He touched the animals, examined the textures, and displayed nothing but curiosity. To him, the world was harmless. Then came the conditioning phase. Each time Albert reached for the rat, the once neutral stimulus, the researchers struck a steel bar with a hammer, producing a sudden, jarring clang. This loud noise served as the unconditioned stimulus, triggering a natural startle and fear response in the baby. After several pairings, something remarkable and unsettling happened. The rat, once benign, became a source of distress. Albert began to cry and pull away at the mere sight of it, even when no noise followed. The fear did not stop there. Watson and Rayner observed that Albert's anxiety generalized to other furry objects: a rabbit, a dog, even a fur coat. The once lively baby now recoiled from anything soft and hairy. This phenomenon, stimulus generalization, became one of the experiment's most striking findings. As for aftercare, the published report stated that the researchers intended to decondition Albert to undo the fear they had instilled. But that plan never materialized. Albert and his mother left the hospital before any such efforts took place, leaving the child with fears deliberately created. The Little Albert experiment remains a chilling reminder of how easily fear can be taught, and how vulnerable minds can be shaped by those in authority. Between 1961 and 1962, in various rooms within Yale University's Lindsley Chittenden Hall, psychologist Stanley Milgram set out to answer a disturbing question: how far would ordinary people go in obeying authority, even if it meant harming someone else? The experiment itself had nothing to do with the Nazis, but its origin lay in the shadow of the Second World War, where countless perpetrators defended their actions with the chilling claim, "I was just following orders." Milgram wanted to see whether obedience to what people perceive as legitimate authority could override their own moral compass. The setup was deceptively simple. 40 men, aged 20 to 50, were assigned the role of teacher. Before the experiment began, the teacher and the learner met briefly in the same room. Milgram intentionally arranged this introduction. The participant saw the learner, shook his hand, and watched as the man in the white lab coat, the authority figure, assigned roles. The participant was designated as the teacher, and the actor, posing as another volunteer, was designated as the learner. After this brief interaction, they each walked into separate rooms and could not see each other again. The teacher sat alone at a shock generator, a large panel of switches ranging from 15 volts on the left to a supposedly lethal 450 volts on the right. In the adjacent room, the learner was strapped to a chair. Each time the learner answered a question from the teacher incorrectly, the teacher was instructed to deliver an electric shock, increasing the voltage with every mistake. Unbeknownst to the teacher, the learner received no shocks. Instead, pre-recorded cries of pain, pounding on the wall, and desperate protests played through a recorder. As the voltage increased, the actor complained of heart trouble and eventually fell completely silent. There was no live communication between the rooms, only the haunting audio of suffering. Standing beside the teacher was the calm, authoritative experimenter in a white lab coat, urging them to continue with standard prompts. The results were staggering. A shocking number of participants continued administering what they believed were dangerous, even potentially lethal, shocks, simply because they were told to do so. In the end, 65% of volunteers pressed the final 450-volt switch. The experiment revealed a chilling truth. Under the pressure of authority, ordinary people can push aside their own moral boundaries. The Milgram obedience experiment remains one of the most debated and unsettling studies in psychology. It offers a fascinating insight into human nature, but has also faced strong criticism due to ethical concerns. In 1971, a simple university basement in Stanford became the stage for one of the darkest chapters in psychology. Philip Zimbardo sought to explore how people react to power and oppression, but what unfolded went far beyond anyone's expectations. 24 male students were randomly assigned the roles of guard or prisoner. None had criminal records, nor histories of aggression. They were simply there to earn some extra money during the holidays. Yet, a complete psychological transformation quickly took hold. Guards, who had begun the experiment laughing and uncertain, started issuing harsh orders, enforcing rules, and inventing punishments. Within 36 hours, some prisoners experienced mental breakdowns, crying, panic attacks, confusion. What had begun as a game became a frightening reality. The guards escalated their behavior, humiliating the participants, forcing them to perform meaningless tasks, making them wait for hours, and issuing punishments without reason. The situation became so severe that some prisoners lost a sense of their own identity, truly feeling like captives. Zimbardo himself became so immersed in his role as prison superintendent that he failed to recognize the suffering he was perpetuating. After just 6 days, less than half of the planned 2 weeks, the experiment had to be abruptly stopped. It demonstrated that the line between good and evil is far thinner than most of us would like to believe. The Lucifer effect suggests that it is not evil people who commit evil acts, but ordinary people who, placed in corrupting situations, can descend into darkness. It remains one of the most unsettling insights into the human mind. The Stanford prison experiment is endlessly fascinating, yet it has also faced significant criticism and numerous caveats. I won't go into all of them here, but if you're curious, they are worth exploring on your own. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with the newest videos, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more mystery, storytelling, and psychological insights.